What's going on, everyone? It's King Tuts Pro. Welcome back to another Final Cut Pro 10 tutorial. So the first effect is going to be this super cool push and pull kind of effect. So if I push play, it's going to look something like this. And man, this is honestly so cool. All right, guys, so if you haven't yet visited my store, I highly suggest you guys do. The latest one is this one here. Link is going to be in the description. Let's get back to the tutorial. No plugins or presets are needed for this one. So what you want to do is have your video ready to go in the timeline. I want to split this clip in between the part where I want this effect to start. So here, so I'm going to press Command B and I'm going to play it through and I want it to end roughly here. So that's about a second long. So move the keyframe at the beginning of that clip here. And then what you're going to do is going to go over to the transform tool. So click on this little box. And then to add a keyframe so we can start kind of animating things, you're going to have to add this little plus button with a kind of like a diamond icon. This allows you to add a keyframe. So we're going to click on this once. So we're going to go about here maybe. And then we're going to then scale this up. So I'm going to zoom this up like this. And I'm going to zoom up quite a bit here. And I'm going to move this around his face. And then we're going to skip a couple of frames about here. We're going to start to move it from here. We're going to go about there. And then we're going to kind of click and drag. And all we're doing is just kind of moving this randomly here. So at this point, we're going to go a couple of frames. And then we're going to kind of move it like that. About here, we're going to move it back down maybe. And then towards the end, we're going to go one frame to the left. And then from here, we're just going to go to under scale all, just type in 100, click OK, or press enter. And then next to X and Y, just type in 0 for both of those values. So now when I go back and I push play, it's going to kind of shake. Now you're going to notice about here, you're going to see like black edges. So we're going to go back to that frame about here. And we're just going to scale this up actually so we don't see that, which is going to be about there. And then just kind of go frame by frame, making sure that there's no gaps on there. And if there is, just drag it up a little bit. Now all we got to do is click on done. And then we have to add the blur effect. So we're going to go over to the effects and we're going to go down to blur. We'll do the zoom blur first. And I'm going to click and drag and move the center point to his face or wherever you want to focus on. So I'm going to focus on his face for now. And then we're going to increase the amount to quite a bit actually, so about 81. So click on this little button and you're going to hit add shape mask, and then you're going to click on the same button again and click on invert masks. What this does, it pretty much does the opposite. So anything inside of this circle is going to not have the effects, and then everything outside of the red circle is going to be affected with the blur. So then the outer red ring here will allow you to create a feather. So this is just how soft it is between the first circle and then this outer circle. So I'm going to click and drag this about here maybe. And then I'm going to drag the inner circle. If you click on the red circle here or on the red line, this will increase the overall size. So I'm going to go about here maybe and then decrease this like that. So that looks pretty cool. Now we got to keyframe this so it stays on his face. So it's very easy. Just go over to the shape mask and add a keyframe here. And then you're going to go, I don't know, a couple of frames, just making sure that this center point is around his nose area or wherever you think you're going to be tracking. Just very simple, a couple frames. And then we're going to move this back over here. So now if we kind of skim through, it's going to look like this. So now if I click on done and I push play, it's going to look like that. Really cool. We're going to go down to the blur again in the effects tab, and we're going to add the focus blur. So we're going to add that onto the same video. And the reason we add the focus blur on top of the zoom is so that we don't have too harsh of that line here. Re-enable it and then click and drag this above the zoom effect. And then now we're going to click and drag and move this focus area on his face. And then we're going to increase or decrease the amount. I'm going to go about 18, 20 or something like that. That one looks pretty clean. And let's move on to the next effect. Alrighty guys, so the second effect or transition that could be used as a transition or an effect is going to be this super cool kind of a snapshot transition. So if I push play, it's going to look something like this. So sick. For this to work, you want some type of kind of overlay that you can use on top of your footage. One of these is for my pack, but you can always, go out and find your own. But if you guys do use the pack, it makes it so much easier, and it looks a lot better too. So once you have your video like this, what you want to do is go to an area that you want to add the effect to. Select the clip, and then you're gonna go over at the top, go down to, or go up to edit and go down to add freeze frame, or press Option F on your keyboard. When you do that, you're gonna zoom out and you're going to see that it adds a new clip right next to it. And this is just a single frame. It's an image, so just trim that down to length, to whatever length you want it to be. So if you want it to last this long, leave it like that. If you want it to be a longer of effect, just drag it outwards. Or if you want it to go by quicker, just drag it inwards like that. What you're going to do is go over to the project window, and I've imported this overlay from my pack. It's called Super 8 Wide 4K. Link is in the description to this specific pack. This one is part of the overlays pack. Link is in the description. So I'm just gonna click and drag this one right above the clip here, and I'm gonna split it. So press Command B and then delete the rest. So once you have this, it is a video. If you don't want it to have motion, what you can do is actually select the clip and just go over to edit and do the same thing. Go to add freeze frame. And what this will do is it will just grab a frame of it so that it's just an image, and then just delete the rest, so that we only have that frame that we just created, and then just trim it to the length of that first clip and then delete it. You're gonna see now it's not moving, which is what I want. So now select the Super 8 film, go over to the inspector window, go down to blend mode, and then just change this to vivid light looks the best. So we're gonna select vivid light. And now when I go back and push play, it kind of makes it brighter too, which is the effect that we want. We're gonna go back to but I think this is the light leak one here. So I'm gonna click and drag this one here. This one is also part of the same pack. So we're gonna drag this one below the freeze frame like that. So it's kind of sandwiched in between those two clips. And then the beginning part kind of looks like this. So we're gonna start it like that. And then I'm going to then change the blend mode to screen so we can kind of change the blend mode and see it through. And now if I go back and push play, it'll look just like this. And then the end, we're going to go to here and just press Command B to split the clip and then delete it. So now if I go back and push play, it looks just like that. Super cool. Man, this one is absolutely insane. This one goes really hard. So if I go to Shift Z and I push play from the very beginning, it's going to look just like this. This is all done in Final Cut Pro without any presets or plugins. All right, guys, so what you want for this effect is 2 clips. So you're gonna have your first clip here, which is gonna be the one that you wanna use to kind of transition onto this one. So this is gonna be the next scene. You want these 2 clips to be completely different from each other. And we're gonna go 1 frame to the left, and we're gonna actually make this a freeze frame. At the top, go to Edit, and then go down to Add Freeze Frame. Zoom out of the timeline, pressing Command minus. Command plus will allow you to zoom in. I'm sure you guys already know that. But if I push play, it's going to be an image, so just trim it to the length that you want it to last. So once you have that, you're gonna have your 10 frames here, and then you're gonna go over to the effects. So the first one is going to be glow. So I think that should be under light, and then you're gonna go down to glow, and then just drag that directly onto your clip. So we're gonna go to the beginning of this freeze frame clip, and we're gonna bring the amount to 0. So bring the slider down to 0. Add a keyframe and go to the very end, and then go to the left, bring the amount to 100. So now this will gradually increase to 100%. So when I push play, it'll look like this. Now, once we have that, we're gonna select the clip, go to the beginning, make sure that your playhead is at the beginning here. Go to the transform tool, which is this square icon, and then you're gonna add a freeze frame. Click on the new keyframe icon. So click on this. And from there, we're gonna go to the end, do the same thing, go 1 frame to the left, and then we're gonna increase the overall scale. So under scale all, just bring it up, click and drag upwards or to the right to increase its size. Click and move this down, increase it to however much you want it to be. Preview it by skimming through. That is perfect actually. So once we're there, we only have 2 frames, so click done. So go to blur, and we're gonna add the zoom blur. So just drag that on the clip as well. This will allow us to create that zoom blur, and we're gonna invert this. So again, go to the shape button here to invert the mask. So click add shape mask, and then this will allow you to bring up the shape mask, but we're gonna invert this. So click back on that button, hit invert masks. So now everything's affecting the outside. So now we're gonna increase the feather and then increase the size a little bit, not too much. And I want it to track Kodak, so I'm gonna leave it there. We're gonna go to the amount, which is next to 49. So keep it to however much you want it to look like. So click and type in 70. And then you're gonna add a keyframe at the beginning. And then once you add your keyframe next to 70, just bring it to 0 for the amount. And then go to the end and go 1 frame to the left and increase this to 70. So type it 70, click done. So now when we go back and I push play, it'll look just like this. And you're going to see that the edges are also gradually increasing and getting blurry. I want to add like a light leak, and you can easily fake it in Final Cut Pro. You're going to go down to the light, and you're going to go to the streaks effect, which is this one. So click and drag this onto that clip. You're going to see that we can change the angle of the streak. I'm going to leave it like that though. I'm going to change this color. So click on this color box, and I'm going to change it to red. I'm going to do orange actually. You can also change and add your own color too as well. I'm gonna go like maybe like that. And then on this, we're gonna also add a shape mask. So click on the shape mask button and click on add shape mask. Increase the feather quite a bit here to make it softer. Make sure to zoom out to like 50% or so, something like that. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna drag this to the left side of the screen so we don't see it. Once we're here and you drag it to the left, we're gonna add a keyframe next to shape mask 1. Go to the end, go 1 frame to the left. We're gonna drag this right in the middle. So now when we go back and push play, it'll look just like that. We're gonna just do the same thing on the next clip so it looks a little bit better. So I'm gonna go to fit, and I'm gonna press Command C. I'm gonna select the next clip, hold Shift, Command V all at the same time. We're gonna paste all of the effects from this clip here and click paste. So now all we're gonna do is at the beginning here, we're gonna, instead of it going from 0, we're gonna start this off at 100. Under zoom, amount, we're gonna drag that to the, I think it was 70. For the streaks, we're gonna actually click on the shape mask. And we're gonna start this off here. And because this last one was really bright, we wanna match it on that last frame. We could also go to the color tab and then add a color board correction. Go to exposure, drag this up here all the way to like 100. Add a keyframe, and then we're gonna go about 5 frames to the right. So press the right arrow key. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're gonna double click on this to bring it back to 0%. And then you're gonna go back to the video inspector tab, bring down the amount to 0. And you're gonna do the same thing for all of these, like that, 0, 0, 0. Then on that same frame, press Command B to split the clip. Select the following clips, the one right next to it, and then just disable or delete the effects. And there you go. That is how you do this effect. So if I push play from the beginning, you have this super clean effect here. And let's move on to the next effect. Alright guys, so this next effect is honestly one of my favorite ones, and this one's really, really cool. Now, I did have to put out the disclaimer before showing you guys this, just in case this is a sort of quick kind of strobe effect, and some people are sensitive to it, so just FYI. So now, if I push play, it's going to look something like this. And man, it is so cool and very simple to do. Okay, so I have 3 clips in this one. First one is just going to be like the video that's kind of playing before. And then the main clip is going to be this one that's going to be kind of laid on top. And then the next clip is just going to be this one here, which is the clip that's going to be beneath the main clip, which is this one. So what you want to do is make your cut between the area that you want to focus on. And then the next scene, what you want to do is just click and drag this below the main clip. Split the clip right at the end of the top clip, so press Command B. We're gonna go about 2 frames. So like every other 2 frames, we're gonna make a cut on the main clip with the cursor at the beginning. So all you gotta do is press on the right arrow key 2 times. So go 1, 2, and then press Command B, and then do the same exact thing throughout the video. So 1, 2, Command B, and you're just gonna do this, and there you go. So it's that easy. And then once you have all of your cuts made, you're gonna select maybe the frame after, and then press Command and hold every other frame. And then you're gonna press V on your keyboard as in Victor, and then this will disable that clip so you can see the clip beneath it. And then we're gonna select the clip beneath it, and then you're gonna go to the effects. You're gonna go to the all video and audio, type in negative, and then drag that, which is, by the way, this comes with Final Cut Pro 10. So it's not a plugin. So just drag this onto that clip and then go over to the inspector tab, and then you can either reduce the amount, but I like to keep it at 100, or you can also have a linear invert. So this will just make it a little bit more easier to see. Kind of brings out more of the shadows, but I'm gonna have that unchecked. So now when I go back and I push play, it'll flash just like that. Let's move on to the next effect. Alright guys, so this next effect is going to be this super cool strobing effect. If I push play, this one's really cool. It's very, very easy and very subtle of an effect, and it's something you can easily do just to spice up the clip. Alright, so what you want to do first is have your main clip in the timeline. I've already done that, so we're going to hold Option and just drag downwards. So now we have 2 of the same clips. Select the main clip, which is the top one, and go to the beginning. We're gonna go about 2 or 3 frames to the right. So we're gonna skip every other 3 frames. So 1, 2, 3, press Command B, and then just do the same thing. Once you've done that, it's going to look something like this. So I'll highlight them. You can see all of the clips here. And then we're gonna select every other frame after the first one. So press Command and select every other. I might have added an extra frame on this one, but that's fine. The more random, the better it will look. And then once you have those selected, press V on your keyboard to disable those. You're then going to select the bottom clip, and then you're going to go over to the color tab over here under no corrections, add one next to color board, then add a keyframe. You can add a keyframe. I'm not going to do that though, because we're going to use this as a main clip, so we don't have to use any keyframing. It just makes it easier for us. So then just increase the highlights quite a bit here, and then now if I go back and push play, it'll look just like that. It's really that simple. Alright guys, so the next effect is going to be the super cool watch kind of boomerang transition. So if I push play, it's going to look just like this. So easy to do. So what you want to do first is obviously go to where you want to add your transition. So I want to use this as our main transition. So I'm going to use this watch. From here, you're going to go over to the top, go to edit, then go down to add freeze frame. And then it's going to add your freeze frame. Just trim it to however long you want this effect to last. I don't want it to last too long here, so we'll do something like that. And then once you're there, just click and drag upwards and then move it to the right. And then if I go back and push play, it should look something like that. Once you've done that, select the clip, go to the effects, go down to the masks, add a draw mask, and you're going to zoom in to your video. So go to about 200%, and then make a nice clean selection of your item or whatever you want to use as a kind of like a freeze frame. And then you're gonna go to feather, just kind of feather it inwards or outwards if you want it to look a little bit nicer. Then go back to fit, and then what you're going to do is go to the beginning of your freeze frame, go to transform, drag it out of the frame, go to 50% so you can see everything, and then you're gonna scale this up quite a bit. Move it to where you want it to start. I want it to go like from the bottom left over to the top right, and then it's gonna go back to the original position. So we're gonna add a keyframe at the beginning, and then you're gonna go about halfway, and then you're gonna drag this over to something like this. I'm gonna drag this one, move it down further. So now when I skim through the video, it's gonna stop here, and then you're gonna go to the end, go 1 frame to the left, and then you're gonna go to the X and Y, type in 0 for both of those values. Next to scale all, 100%, press enter. And then now if I go back here and I go to fit here and I push play, it's going to look just like that. Now it looks very choppy because we need to add some blur to create some of that motion. Let's just go over to the effects, go to blur, and then you're going to go to directional blur, add it to the freeze frame. Then you're going to click on the blur here, and you're going to see the on-screen control. Just move it kind of like that. So now when I push play, it looks a lot smoother, as you can see. Alright guys, so the last and final effect is going to be this super cool psychedelic mask effect. So if I go back and I push play, it's going to look something like this. Alright, so what you want to do is have a video like this. This is just like a trippy, kind of colorful, animated background, more of like a liquid effect. I'm sure you can find one like this, like online or something. Once you have that, and then you have your video of choice that you want to use the effect on, ideally you kind of use a video that has a lot of like vibrant colors. What you want to do is drag the video, the background below the main clip, and then you're going to select the main clip, you're going to go to the effects, you're going to go to keying, and you're going to add the keyer to the main clip. So click invert, because I want it to affect his main jacket. So before I do that, I'm going to go to sample color, and I'm going to sample his jacket color, which is pink, and then invert the mask. And then now you have this super cool effect. How this works is it pretty much will key out everything but the color we selected. So let me know what you think of this one down below in the comment section, and I will catch you on my next video.